All right, so I figured while I still had my camera rolling, I would just go ahead and continue to share with you all what I've got going on my sewing table. I just finished recording the Walmart fabric haul video, so go ahead and check that out if you haven't already watched that. Got some really nice knit fabrics from Walmart recently. But yeah, I figured I would take the time to keep the camera rolling and just show you all what I've got on my sewing table right now. It actually is a lot of different stuff, but I'm gonna show you all. I mean, it's not a whole lot now that I'm looking at it, but it's just stuff. So what I'm working on right now is this simplicity pattern. I actually decided I would go ahead and get this pattern started. This is Simplicity 3047. It is a jiffy pattern, so it's supposed to be a quick pattern to put together. So I've taken some notes here as I've gone through the pattern and read my instructions. So let me share with you what I have discovered so far. So first things first, I did pick up a denim fabric from Hobby Lobby, which I think it is in fact 60 inches wide. I also have some lightweight interface I'm going to be using to get this pattern put together, which I also purchased from Joann fabric. It also required a 7-inch zipper, a 1-inch zipper. I can't imagine what that would even look like, but 7-inch zipper. It did require some bias for some seam binding and obviously thread, which I end up sourcing from 3 different places only because I did not have the shade of denim that I thought I needed, or the shade of blue I thought I needed for the denim. So I end up getting it from 3 different places, and I think I settled on the Walwack thread from or the Gutermann brand from Walwack. And I finally got my my Gutermann thread chart in that I also shared with you all in one of my recent videos, and I was able to do some matching of the thread based off my fabric, and I think the color I landed on was 1823, and that's this one here. 1823 is the one I ended up purchasing. It has not come in just yet, but I like Walwack because they do have fast shipping, so I suspect I shall have it any day now. And I got that shade in regular thread as well as the top stitching, because this pattern does require some top stitching at the very end, and I figured if I wanted to do this right, I wanted to make sure I use top stitching thread. I probably could have used my regular thread, I don't know, but I figured top stitch thread is much thicker, so I thought it would just have a better look on the top of the garment other than using the regular thread. So this pattern, it has 8 pattern pieces. It has 8 pattern pieces. So to make this garment, I'm going to use all 8 pieces that are shown here on the pattern instructions themselves. And as I read through the instructions, there are a couple of things I need to kind of go back and just refresh my skills on a little bit, and that would be bias encasing, because as I said, you have to, I mean, if you want to have a nice professional clean look, there is a requirement or an instruction that suggests that you use bias tape on your seams to make them nice and clean. I've never done that before, so I need to kind of just look at a couple of videos, see how that's done. There are also some belt carriers I have to install on here, and you don't see that on actually on the pattern itself. Oops, you don't see that on the pattern itself. So when you see this belt, at least when I saw the belt, I thought it was just a quick like wraparound belt, but it actually has belt carriers on it. So I need to figure out, or just do a quick video review on how to install the belt carrier. And I also need to do a refresh on the hook and eye as well as the zipper install. Now, I know hook and eye, it sounds very simple, right? You just kind of hand sew, but I think that there are different techniques that folks use to get that hook and eye to be stabilized on the pattern because they're so small. And I did have some in my stash already because I remember I used a hook and eye on a skirt that I made a couple years back, a couple of summers ago, that required hook and eye, and it took me forever. I felt like, to get that hook and eye in place. But I do have, actually I have a couple of sizes here already, so I might opt for this one because these are a little bigger. But I do have some hook and eyes here that I need to install. And of course the zipper. I think the zipper install will not be hard at all because it looked pretty basic in the instructions. But again, I haven't done that in a while, so I'll just probably watch a video or two just to see, you know, how to best get that done. And I think that's going to be the perfect time for me to also use my new fabric glue pen, because this might actually help keep my zipper in place as I am trying to sew it on. And I don't think this will make my needle get gummed up. I think this is, I saw the review on this, and I believe this is one that doesn't gum up your needle. So I'm gonna test it out first before I actually use it. Now, remember I told you guys that it's very important to read your instructions. So here's the reason why it happened to me. And I looked at what was required on here for notions as I purchased the pattern. And it only says on here that I need 1 7-inch zipper, seam binding for stretch lace, and bias seam binding optional for the unlined wrap jacket. Nowhere on here does it say that I need elastic and also a hook and eye. I did not see that until I opened the instructions and started reading along, and I saw that I need to install a hook and eye, and I also need to have my elastic. So another reason why I say it's very important to read your instructions, especially if you're a beginner and you're trying something for the first time. So as I went through the pattern and the measurements, it looks like I am probably going to have to do a size 16 in the jacket and possibly a size 20 for the pants. Now, I am saying possibly because they could be too big or too small. I don't know. I have a note here for the jacket. I may have to make it shorter by about 1 inch or 2 because it looked to be a little long based off the measurements that I took. And I also noticed for the pants here that I might need to shorten the pants because the pants look to be a little bit long based off the measurements I took. And then I also realized I may need to do some not easing out, but what's the word? Oh my gosh, having a brain freeze. I might need to take the pants out, might need to let some of the pants out, increase my seam allowance, or just make the pants a little wider around the hip area, around the legs, because they might be a little snug based off the measurement. So grading out, that's what it is, grading out. I don't know why I couldn't think of that word or that phrase. I don't know. Yeah, so what I am going to do, because I don't want to mess up my denim right away, and I want to make sure that I am taking my time and I'm getting this right the first go around, I am going to actually do a muslin. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. I am going to do a muslin using this sheet that I purchased from the Goodwill some time ago. You know, the sheets that you can purchase from the Goodwill or the thrift stores are really great for like your muslins, or even sometimes making a wearable garment. But I'm going to use this sheet that I have here to make a muslin, probably for both the jacket and the pants. Now I'm not going to do the muslin for the entire pant leg. I just want to do maybe midway past the thigh. I'm just concerned about the waist area, the hips, and around the thighs to make sure that I have enough space that I need. So I am going to cut the size 20. Yeah, I'm going to cut the size 20. Yeah, I gotta look at this again, but I might do 22. I don't know. I'm looking at my measurements here, and I actually had on here cut a size 20. So I think I'm gonna stick with what I said and cut the size 20, and pray, because I only had one of these. Pray that that works out okay. Now let me tell you guys, I was actually a little bit nervous when I pulled this instruction sheet out and saw what this looked like, because this is nothing like what I'm used to reading for a simplicity pattern. But I remembered that this is a vintage pattern, so this just might be what the vintage patterns all look like. But I also was very excited to also see this here, which is what I am used to seeing when I work on a simplicity pattern. So this here has been my go-to as I'm marking up my pattern and my instructions and making notes and things like that, at least for the layout. Now, they do actually keep with the vintage style instructions, I would say. And I had to kind of do some highlighting and just some, like, numbering of the steps until I just kind of got tired of doing that, and I just kind of let that go once I started looking at the instructions for getting the collar done. But what I do appreciate with this pattern is that they separate out the steps by units. So the wide leg pants has a unit 1 where it's like working on the back, and then you have unit 2 working on the seams for the front, and then the different steps for that particular unit are here. And then the unlined wrap jacket, unit 1 to get that done, and then unit 2 is right here. So it does look like they do a great job at trying to like break this down a little bit so that you don't feel so overwhelmed with all the many different steps. So I do feel like this is something that can get done in like different phases, and you have like good stopping points that will probably help get the pattern done. So I do have a note here about stay stitch. So it looks like there's a note, an instruction where you're asked to stay stitch the collar likely to the back and front of the jacket itself. So I just have a quick note there to remind myself to make sure I do the stay stitch. But I mean, this looks like it's gonna come together pretty okay. I mean, my biggest concern right now is just the sizing of this, making sure that I cut it the proper size, which tends to be an issue I have a lot of my patterns sometimes. But oh yeah, and then I'm sorry, I wanted to mention the belt carriers. Yeah, see here, it tells you at the very end, make thread carriers. So that's a skill that I need to look at a little bit. I saw a video recently where someone made something, I forget who it was, and it was a really great demonstration on how to install the belt carrier. So I think it's pretty simple though, but yeah, I gotta make sure I know how to do that properly. So I just cut out the size 20 in the simplicity pattern, simplicity 3047. This is the Jiffy vintage pattern. And I've never seen this on a pattern before where there are 2 cut lines. And I mean, again, this is my first time sewing a vintage pattern. I haven't sewn many patterns, especially pants patterns before, but I see that there is a lengthen and shortening line right above the crotch area. And then there's also another one further down the pant leg. So, and that's on both. That's on the front of the pants and also on the back of the pants, which makes sense, but I've never seen two different cut lines. So I feel like that actually might work to my benefit, because if I have any fitting issues around the crotch area, I might actually have the option to shorten or lengthen that space. So I'm very optimistic having seen that in my pattern piece. So that is what I have going on my table right now. I mean, I've got some other miscellaneous stuff. My friend asked me to do a quick, and I do mean really quick, alteration on an item that she purchased that the person she purchased it from, they didn't quite finish off one of the hems. So I want to do that for her. Thank goodness I just went ahead and purchased some different denim, shades of denim fabric, so I can get that done for her. And then my daughter just dropped her uniform stuff on my table, so I've got to do some ironing of some uniforms as well. So that is what I've got going on in my room this week, and I am going to try to go ahead and start trying to knock some stuff out. And hopefully when I come back the next time, I'll be able to tell you guys how this this muslin worked out on these pants, if they did or didn't, and what the next step forward will be. So I want to thank you for watching, and as I always say, if you have not yet liked or subscribed to my videos and my channel, please do so by clicking that little bell below. That way you're able to capture all of my content. Until we come together again, take care and God bless every last one of you. Bye.